Ahoy everyone, my name is theSirhc and welcome back to another episode here on the NightOwl server. Spawn Town is growing and changing. We've got some new fancy decorations around the place. Most notably, we have some new paths going through here. Kamikaze went through and switched out all the path blocks with this beautiful new mud and mud brick, or packed mud, whatever it's called, the mud bricks, these fancy new blocks. We also have some new light posts. I'm not sure who did those. Kami said he didn't do them. Those just kind of popped up one day, but they look really nice. Really bring the roads together, nice and lit up. We have a brand new portal by Kamikaze. This thing, nice messy like rift in the cliff. Almost like the nether has exploded out of there. Looks really fancy. And if we follow the path over this way, we've got a nice little water feature, a little pond here with a swing. Look at this thing. There's so much detail in here, so much decoration. It's like a flowering lily pad. There's some, what are these called? Cattails, the forbidden corn dogs. Delicious. I just want to bite them. But yeah. Got some lovely things going on. I definitely need to I need to get over to this side of spawn and do some work. I've got some ideas, but it might be a little bit before we actually get to those yet, because I have so many other things I want to work on. Mainly stuff over on this side of spawn in our little proto shopping district that's popping up. Of course, we have our copper farm over there. We also have a brand new shop in the back that I think we'll check out later. But I've been doing some work here at the copper shop, doing some updates, trying to finish the roof. I got most of it done. Got the texturing done with the different shades of the copper. But I just recently took out all the dark oak that I had bordering the roof, kind of like I have up on my house. Took all that out and replaced it with copper. And then I had to wait for it all to oxidize, and now I need to go through and do some more texturing, take off some of these oxidized layers and wax them all so that they I want like the corners to be the most oxidized, so like up there, down here, and then it gets less oxidized as you get towards the center of the roof. So I'll have to play around with that, get that all tweaked, and get it all waxed so it stays how I want it. We also have some frog lights on the server now. We have a frog light farm, so I switched out the shroom lights that we had in our copper lanterns with the ochre frog lights, which definitely make a better lantern block. That looks way better than the shroom lights. Not that the shroom lights are bad. I did keep those in some other parts of the shop, up in the ceiling, but I think for the actual lantern of the copper lantern, definitely a better block choice. The other thing I've done with this shop is I've added a secret basement. So we've got a fancy water bucket entrance, and we can descend the ladder down into the sewer below. This place turned out so good. I'm so happy with how this looks. Looks like a proper sewer. We've got our tunnels going off in either direction with our water channel going through here. I just stuck some black concrete at the end of the tunnel there, so it looks like it just extends off into the darkness. I think that effect works really well. I've used this black stone to make it look like the stone is wet. That was kind of the idea here. So I've used it all around the river going through the middle to make it look like this is just wet stone, a little bit darker from that. Also, we can close the door behind us if I just pull the water out from there. Pretty fancy. Just done with, this is a slab that you can waterlog. And then there's an observer looking at that just opens the door. Pretty simple. But yeah, I always like to have basements in my shops just for extra storage. So I've got all my honeycomb down here, and I don't have much extra copper. Still trying to work on filling all those chests up there. But if I do get enough to fill that place, then I can put the extra down here. I've also I was kind of thinking with this, it'd be cool if I make other shops around the place to connect the tunnels up to the other shops and maybe just put a sewer underneath all of them and have a little underground tunnel network to all of my builds here. That'd be kind of interesting. And in fact, we actually have a build I want to work on right across the street. We've got this skeleton farm or a skeleton spawner that we found while we were making the copper shop that I want to turn into a farm, and that's going to be one of our goals today. So maybe we can connect that up to our sewer as well. Have a little room down here around the actual spawner. But before we get started on this building over here, I've got another project that I want to finish up real quick. I'm almost done with it, and that is this fountain here. Although it's not just a fountain, it is a slime ball fountain. We get slime balls shooting up from down below. I started this project when we were working on the Blaze farm. Started digging out this slime farm because we needed a bunch of slime blocks, and we've got it all dug out. We've got a bunch of spawning layers here for the slimes, and I've gone around, added a water channel to carry the slimes over to that corner. Plus I've got magma blocks all along the bottom of the channel, which means as soon as the slimes fall down in there, they're going to start taking damage and die, and their slime balls are going to end up just flowing all the way to the end here. Oh, it's painful. It hurts. But yeah, if they die on their way over here, their slime balls are going to follow the water streams to these hoppers, and then they get shot up this water stream and up to our fountain. Let's just demonstrate this here. Knock this big guy off. And look at all those slimes down there taking damage, turning into smaller slimes, and eventually dying and turning into slime balls. And those will make their way up to the surface. So now the only thing left to do with this slime farm is to finish up the fountain here and our little storage that we have going on around here. We've got all these hoppers just going into these chests around the perimeter. And I want to make this look a little bit fancier because right now it's pretty boring. Also, we do have a bit of a problem where pretty much all of the slime balls end up in this chest. I'd like to get them to spread out a little bit more. There is a bit of a problem with these water streams. If I get rid of that block there and have this symmetrical so that we have water flowing in every direction, it makes it so the slime balls actually get stuck there in the center because that center water block isn't actually flowing in any direction. So they just kind of get stuck right here. So we're going to have some sort of asymmetry. We're going to need to make sure that this top block is flowing in a direction. That does mean that most of our slime balls are probably going to end up over on this side. But hopefully it's not too bad. I might have to kind of think of a better way to fix this. But I've got a design all planned out. So I'm just going to get that built here. And there we have it, our brand new slime fountain, shooting the slime balls up into the air, sending them into our chests down here. We just have a nice simple tower of water cascading down these blocks in the middle. I did mix in some slime blocks just so people know that this is in fact the slime farm, since there really isn't much else to indicate that it is, unless you actually come here and see the slime balls shooting up. I did put a fence gate up at the top to stop the water from flowing backwards, so that that top block actually flows towards the front. Otherwise, like I said, those slime balls would get stuck up there if it was symmetrical, if we had the water flowing in all four directions. That does mean that most of the slime balls are going to end up in this chest right here. Pretty much none of them end up in these corners or over on the side. There are some that head to the back here, but yeah, it's not a very even distribution, and I'm not sure how to solve that. I have played around with the water streams quite a bit, trying to get them to fly off in different directions, but I just haven't figured out a way to do that. If you have any ideas, I would love to hear them. The only idea that I have, and I might try this out, is if instead of having a 1 block wide bubble column shooting up from the bottom, if we did a 2x2, because if we take out some dirt around here, if we have a 2x2 here, the items are going to flow in some direction. And they might even have a higher chance of flowing at an angle, which would be really nice, because then there's a better chance of them actually coming into these other chests here. So maybe I'll try that out later. But for now, the slime farm works. You know, we still have a chest of storage here that we can fill up. And I can always come here and grab these and craft them into slime blocks and put them in a different chest or something. But yeah, I think for now we're going to leave it as is. I also went and finished up the roof on the copper shop. I textured up those edge blocks and got them all waxed so they'll stay the way that they are. And I really love how that turned out. Definitely think that's better than having the dark oak border that I had before. It makes it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more copper centric, and really shows off the product that we're selling. But anyways, finally it is time to work on this skeleton farm right here. This pit that's been sitting here for like weeks and weeks. We're going to get this filled in, and we're going to need some of that glass that blocks out light. I don't remember what it's called, but I know we need some shards. Hey, look, an ocelot. We need some amethyst shards, and luckily for us, we have a little shop that popped up over here. This nice little crystal building. This is Kamikaze's shop, Treasures of the Earth, where he's selling everything geode related. So he's got some blocks of amethyst. He's got all of these amethyst clusters and amethyst buds. I didn't even realize that you could silk touch the crystals while they were growing and get the different sizes. But he's got all the different sizes as well as the biggest ones, the clusters there. He's got the calcite and the smooth basalt that spawns around the geodes. And of course, he has the amethyst shards here, which is what we need. Free stack with every purchase. But I want to purchase these. I don't really need anything else at the moment. Do I just buy these then? Maybe I'll just give them like a diamond for each stack or something. Yeah, I think we'll take 4 stacks and we'll just give him diamonds for that. He's just gonna have to accept that. He's taking diamonds for it. I'm not taking them for free. I'm paying. Oh man, we need to get a bridge across here. We need to extend those roads over here. Probably a project for the near future. Tinted glass, that's what it is. 4 shards and a glass makes 2 of them. Beautiful. And I've gone ahead and made all of the inner workings for the skeleton farm. So this thing should be operational now. We've got our spawning chamber down below covered in this tinted glass. We've got the water streams to push the skeletons into that channel, up this bubble column, and into our little collection area here where we can step on the pressure plate, slice them. They'll end up in the lava and die. It'll give you the XP since you knocked them into the lava. Redstone's super simple. We got an observer looking at this pressure plate, observer looking into that, and then some redstone just going up. It just goes up these slabs to trigger both pistons and the dispenser. And then the items get picked up by this hopper, get sent into this bubble column with some redstone down here, and end up in this sorting system where we sort out the bones and the arrows, and then everything else goes into these chests. Hi, Cammy. So all that's left to do is to head downstairs and take out all of these torches, get this all blocked up, make it nice and dark in here. There we go, and bop, is that it? If we do this, that. Oh, there's still a torch there. I was like, it still seems bright in there. Why does it still seem bright? One more torch. There we go. And they're spawning. Ow. There we go. Nice and dark in there. Awesome. So we'll get some skeletons spawning. And look at that, we've got some skeletons popping up into our little collection pit. Wait for them to all drop down, and then we can go and slice them, get their XP, get their items. Hopefully their items go into the hoppers. Maybe I should add another hopper here just to help collect some of those items. But yeah, items are getting sent into the storage, getting all sorted out. Fantastic. We got another working skeleton farm. Nice community one that anyone can come and use. There is one more thing I want to add to this, though, before we close it all up and make the building around it. And that is a little bone meal crop farm. This is a design that I saw on the YouTube. Seemed like a pretty popular design at the moment. If you search bone meal crop farm, you'll see a lot of things that look just like this. And basically it uses an observer clock to push this piston in and out and activate these dispensers. And how it works is when the piston is open, it allows you to plant the crop. Am I out of bone meal in one of these? What's going on? No, we're working. Let's try this. There we go. Now it's working. It allows you to plant when the piston is open, and then when it closes, it blocks out all the light, which pops off the wheat. So it just harvests it by turning off the lights, basically. But I gotta say, I'm not a fan of this design. I don't like super fast clocks because they're just really annoying. Also, I'm not a big fan of levers. I almost never use them in my redstone contraptions. If I ever need a lever to turn something on and off, I just use a button and add a toggle to the button so the button can switch my contraption on and off. So we're going to come up with a slightly different design that will just auto harvest whenever you plant rather than having to turn the machine on. We're going to use the same concept in our design with the piston that opens and closes. So we're going to stick it in front like this, facing upward. And then we're going to put a dispenser on either side and a dispenser facing downward above this space. This is where we'll grow our plant. And then we'll have an observer back behind here looking at the plant. So that's going to activate the whole machine. And then we need this. Oh yeah, we've got empty space down below. That's fine. We need this piston extended by default. So we're going to have to put a torch down there, and then we'll have to activate or turn off that torch with a repeater. Let's see, let's grab, I got slabs here, right? Yeah. We'll put a slab right here and then a repeater going into that. And then we just need this observer to activate that repeater. So I think what we'll do is put a block back here. We'll put a slab here and a block here. Then we can put redstone dust. So this observer, when that activates, that'll turn off that torch and this piston will go down. And then we just need this observer to activate all of these dispensers. And I think I'm just going to put blocks behind them and put redstone all along here. That way we can still put hoppers on top of these dispensers so we can feed in more bone meal that way. So that should be our farm. We just need to, let's see, I'll need to move this water over. I think we'll stick our water down right here. And one thing with this is we need to make sure all of the redstone here is blocked up. We don't want any light getting into this spot because this block right here is going to be farmland. And so if we have light getting into here, it's actually going to be able to light up the crop. Because that farmland isn't a full block, so that light would technically get in through there. So you got to block that up, and then we can fill in all these dispensers with some bone meal. Just like that. Let's grab ourselves some more seeds, and we should just be able to sit here and right click. Oh, I forgot to do one thing. This repeater needs to be on 2 ticks because the signal from the observer is too quick to activate the torch. So let's break that. There we go. Now we hold right click and I need to block this off too because we have the same problem here where light can get in through that farmland right there. Block that off. Now it should work. There we go. And are we getting wheat? Let's just put some wheat in our hotbar. Make sure that it's actually growing all the way. There we go. So it's a bit slower than the other design, which is probably means that this is a worse farm. If you're looking for speed, definitely make the other farm. But I like this idea better than just having a clock constantly going. I like the idea of just being able to walk up to this thing and start planting, and it just works, rather than turning the machine on and it's just running by itself. I just like the, I feel like that's a better user interface, I guess, with the farm. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. We've got ourselves a bone meal farm, so we can use up all the bones that we're getting from these skeletons here. And the last thing to do is to build the actual building. And I'm really not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. I don't want anything super big because we are pretty close to the copper shop. I don't want it to like overshadow the copper shop. We can't really extend too far off in this direction because then we'll be going over the road that we'll be going through here. I'm kind of thinking the idea is maybe some sort of like castle-y type building, dungeon-y, forty. I think we'll do some sort of like box with like a tower where the skeletons are going up. Maybe do some detail around the top edge, some like crenellations and stuff. But I think the first step is I'm just going to grab some of this deep slate and make a big box around this and kind of get the basic shape figured out. And then we can detail it from there. And I've done just that. We've got ourselves a frame around the entire building here, mapped out the basic shape of it. Basically just a bunch of boxes. I just wanted to make sure that everything was enclosed, all the redstone and the water towers. And I tried to make it somewhat interesting shaped, you know, lots of different boxes, different sizes, different heights. So the building had some interest there. I might make that tower in the middle a little bit taller. That's just the minimum height that it has to be. But I think that would look good if we actually had a tower there sticking up a little bit higher. But now it's time to detail this whole thing. We're going to have an entrance here and an entrance here and some windows on either side. If we go for a dungeon-y feel, these iron bars are definitely going to help out with that feel if we do something like this. But the one worry that I have is that we're going to end up being, this is going to end up being a very gray building if we just do that. So maybe instead of iron bars, we've got some warped wood already with the trapdoors and the pressure plate there. Maybe we mix in more of that throughout here, use that instead of the iron bars. I definitely feel like this gives more of a dungeon-y feel, but we need the color. I guess another option is if we use the iron bars, maybe we mix in some more actual warped wood. Do I got some more in here? I'll probably have to go get some more of this stuff. Like we could maybe mix in some of this here and we'll strip that so it's that color. We could mix in something like that, do that on like either side. Might be interesting. Or even on these corners, instead of having full block corners, maybe we could do something with fences and then have that there. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to play around with this a little bit. I've decided to go with the iron bars for our windows because that definitely gives more of the dungeon-y feel. And we've got our warped fences on the corners to give a little splash of color and to round out those corners a bit. And I've also gone ahead and pretty much built the entire thing here. We've got a very dungeon-y looking farm. We've got our crenellations up top. We've got our tower sticking tall in the middle. Oh, I'm so happy with how this turned out. We've got our big spruce dungeon door to get inside, and this is how the inside is laid out. We got some nice glass up in the tower so you can see the sky through there. We still got our storage over here for the skeleton drops. We've got our farm over here so you can grab some seeds and do a little planting. Use up some of that bone meal to get some crops. I do have a composter here, so if you have extra seeds, you can throw those in there and get a little extra bone meal out of that. Some storage for all the crops. The only thing we have left to do here is some detailing. Number one, we need to grab some lights. I think we're going to go with the soul lights. Let's just grab a bunch of this stuff here. These soul lights definitely match our color theme we've got going on, the gray and cyan. So we're going to stick those in a few places. I think I'm going to put one like up here over the farm. That looks kind of cool. And where else? Should we just hang some off of here? Should I do different heights? This might be too low. Yeah, that feels a little too low. We'll just put that up here, and I don't know, maybe that's it in here. We don't need a lot of light. Maybe we'll put one up here in the corner. Light up that corner a bit. That works pretty nice. And then I've got some anvils too, so people can combine these bows that the skeletons drop. We'll just put a stack of those here. And of course we got to put a ender chest as well. Nope, I didn't put one of those here yet. Another thing I want to do is around the outside, I basically just built this out of the deep slate bricks. And we need to switch out some of these blocks. We need to add a bit more block variation, because at the moment it looks a little plain. You know, everything is very samey. It's all got the same textures. So I think we need to go through here and switch out some of these blocks, like all of these stairs here under the crenellations. Maybe we'll go with some polished deep slate there. Give that a little breakup of the texture. We could also switch out these, maybe the bottoms of here with some chiseled, something like this. Maybe all of these bottom parts, add a nice little dark base to it. Yeah, that could work out nicely. I think around this door too, I want to do something different. I'm not sure what. Maybe with the tiles, if we want a nice darker block around there. Maybe even switch out some of these other blocks here to give it a nice dark frame. That and that. Yeah, that definitely looks better. Nice dark frame around the door. Breaks up all of this deep slate gray a bit. One other thing we could do is maybe mix in some of this blackstone. I'm not sure how well that would look with the deep slate, or how much of this we would want to use. Like if we switched out these bottom blocks with some polished deep slate, what does that look like? Something like that. Does that go together? Honestly, I'm not entirely sure if it does. I think if we did that, we would have to include more of the blackstone. Like get rid of all this tile, maybe switch this out. Let's see, do I like that better than using the tile? It definitely adds more contrast. You know, the deep slate tile is a little bit darker, but this gives you a little bit more of a purple shade, which I guess I'm not sure if I like or not. I'll have to play around with that a little bit more. But another thing we can do is add some lights outside. We can't hang them on these stairs, but you can hang them from chains, and chains you can put anywhere. So we could do something like that. Maybe stick one over in the corner here. I also got visited by a group of pillagers and got their banner, which kind of matches the aesthetic of this thing. You know, it's got the cyan eyes, and it's got a nice big gray face. That might be kind of interesting. I probably have another one of those. I would assume so. I'm actually not sure where I would have it, but I'll have to get another one for this door if we decide to keep that. And there it is, the brand new skeleton dungeon, looking very fabulous. I did decide to go with the blackstone, mixing that in throughout the build. I just really like the extra contrast it adds, instead of everything just being the deep slate gray. We now have a little bit of a purpley black mixed in, and I think it turned out pretty well. Let's just do a little walk around the build. I did leave some windows so that you can see items shooting up through the water stream, and you can see the skellies shooting up from the outside there. I really like how that tower turned out. That's a nice big feature in the middle of the build. And we've got a nice little entrance set up here, skeleton dungeon. I did have one more of these banners, so I got one over here. Doesn't really relate to the skeletons or to the farm at all, but it does match the vibe, I think. It matches the colors and the vibe. And inside, I suppose I should work on that down there. There we go. That's much better. Looks a lot more finished. Maybe we'll head down there and take a closer look at what we got going on. So down here in the sewer, I did connect it over to the dungeon. I've got a nice new tunnel here with the water coming through. Kind of transitioned from the stone brick and moss stone brick over to the deep slate. And then I just have the water from the sewer kind of wrapping all the way around our spawning chamber. Otherwise, pretty simple down here, just a mixture of blackstone and the deep slate. Kind of have these blackstone supports going up. Nothing too crazy. It's mainly just to add a little bit of atmosphere when you're up in the farm. And I'd say it definitely does its job well. You get a really cool look down into there. Again, really just adds to the whole dungeon feel, I think. Looks pretty neat. So yeah, here in the actual farm, I've done a few changes. We got some armor stands here just to show off some of the armor. I just kind of picked some of the best stuff that we've gotten from the skeletons. So that's just sort of a mishmash, a little bit of decoration there. Added a couple more lights in the area. We've got a few hanging from the top of the tower there, which looks pretty cool. Mixed in some more blackstone all around the area. And of course, since we're on a server, and this is a community farm, I did put down some signs telling people how to use things and where things are. So got a sign, step on pressure plate and slice the skellies, so people know to do this. Hopefully not too complicated. They can figure that out. Throw all that stuff in there. I usually pick up quite a bit of stuff. It explodes everywhere, but hoppers pick up a decent amount. And then over here, of course, with our bone meal farm, got a little sign that says plant here, so people know that this is a farm to plant in. And then put a sign up here, compost here, so that they know to put their seeds and stuff in there to turn into more bone meal. Hopefully they can figure out that that's where the bone meal goes, and that these are just normal storage chests to put some extra crops in or whatever. And I think that's gonna do it for this build here, this beautiful skeleton farm. And that's also gonna do it for today's episode. We got some really nice stuff done. This thing has just been a hole in the ground for many weeks, ever since we built the copper shop. I've been planning on getting over here and making this farm for the community. And so I'm really happy that it's done. And I love the way that this turned out. I think this looks really neat. Plus, we also got the slime farm here working. I definitely need to do something different with this fountain to get those slime balls to go into some other chests, because at the moment they're not entering any of them. I've had to just empty out this chest to keep it from overflowing. So we'll have to come back, revisit that in the future. But next episode, we're going to be starting on a fun new project. The best season, fall, has finally arrived. It is almost October, which means it is almost spooky season. And so we're going to be heading over to this forest and starting on a little themed village. We're going to be making our own little seasonal town, a little Halloween town. And I'm really excited for this. I love this season. I love all of the Halloween and spooky stuff. I've got plenty of ideas for this place. It just depends on if we have the time to get to all of those, if we have the time to build everything that I want to build. And it's not just going to be me building on this. We're going to have some other members on the server coming out to build their own things. And hopefully we can populate this area with a bunch of spooky and fall themed builds. I'm very excited for this. This is going to be a lot of fun. So make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay tuned to all of that business. And leave a like down below if you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, folks.